Hello everyone, I welcome you all to this class. Today we want to consider the basic algebra of complex number, or simply algebra of complex numbers. So the first one we're going to consider is addition. We want to know how we can add two or more complex numbers. So let z1 be a complex number and let it be equal to x1 plus iy1, and z2 be a complex number and let it be equal to x2 plus iy2. Then z1 plus z2 will be equal to, what is your z1? x1 plus iy1 plus, what is your z2? x2 plus iy2. So these are two complex numbers and you want to add them. So this is z1, this is what? z2. So if you want to add them, how do you add them? You add them what? Component wise. That is, you add the first component, then add the second component. The first component is called the real part. The real part are those ones that the real part is that one that does not go with I. So coming to this z1, this x1 does not go with I, so it's the real part. And this one that goes with I, which is y1, that's the coefficient of I, is called the imaginary part. So you add the real part, then later you add the imaginary part. So the real part of this one is x1, then plus, what is the real part of this one? x2. Then plus, you now put I, open a bracket, then now you add the imaginary part. The coefficient of I here is the imaginary part, that's y1. Coefficient of I here is the imaginary part, y2. So this is how we can add two or more complex numbers. Even no matter the number you have, if I have complex numbers up to 50, I can add them, provided you add the real part, then you add the imaginary part. So let's see how we can apply this using this question. Let z1 be equal to 1 divided by 2 plus 3i, and z2 be equal to minus 3 over 2 plus 8i. We want to find z1 plus z2. Quickly, solution. z1 plus z2 will be equal to, what is your z1? Your z1 is 1 over 2 plus 3i plus, what is your z2? Minus 3 over 2 plus 8i. Then this will be equal to what? You add the real part. Does 1 over 2 go with I? No. 1 over 2 is the real part. Does minus 3 over 2 go with I? No. That's the real part. So the real part of this one is 1 over 2. Then plus, the real part of this one is minus 3 over 2. But plus minus is what? Minus. So I can have this minus 3 over 2. Then next one, you put what? You put I plus I into, you add the imaginary part. The imaginary part of this complex number is the coefficient of I, which is what? 3. 3 plus, what's the imaginary part here? Coefficient of I here, which is what? 8. So this will be equal to, what's the LCM of this? 2. 1 minus 3 minus 2. We have minus 2 over 2. I'm solving for this real part. So we have minus 2 over 2. So 2 divide minus 2 will be what? Minus 1. So this will give you minus 1. Then plus I, 8. 3 plus 8 will be what? 11. That's 11i. So this is what we have. So this is the solution to this problem. So let's go to the next one. Multiplication. Let z1 be equal to x1 plus iy1, and z2 be equal to x2 plus iy2. Then z1, z2 will be equal to x1 plus iy1 multiplied by x2 plus iy2. And this will be equal to, so given two complex numbers, the first one z1 to be equal to x1 plus iy1, the second one to be z2 equals to x2 plus iy2. How do we multiply these two complex numbers? You know how to expand brackets, right? So we have this one, this first complex number, you enclose in the bracket, then enclose the other one in the bracket, then multiply the two brackets to expand them. So we'll pick the first quantity here and multiply everything here. X1 will times everything in the second bracket. X1 times x2, x1, x2, plus x1 times iy2 will be I x1, y2. Then we are done with this one. We'll pick iy1 to multiply everything here. Iy1 times x2 will be y plus I x2 y1. Then plus, okay, before writing this, we have iy1 times iy2. When you do iy1 times iy2, you do first I times I. I times I will give you what? I squared. But in our previous video, I told you that I squared is what? Minus 1. So you have negative 1. Negative 1 times y1 times y2 will be what? Y1, y2. So what do you do? Collect the real part together. That's the one that does not go with I. That's this one. X1, x2. Collect this one. Minus y1, y2. Plus I into. Add the imaginary part, the one that goes with I. That's x1, y2. Then x2, y1. Then I've added the imaginary part of this complex number. Let's quickly create space here. So, creating space. So let's just give an example. Let z1 be equal to 1 over 2 plus 5i, and z2 be equal to 4 minus 2i. Then z1, z2 is solution. So we want to multiply these two complex numbers. The first complex number is what? 1 over 2 plus 5i. And second complex number is what? 4 minus 2i. We want to find z1, z2. Now z1, z2, that's multiplying the two complex numbers. What's your z1? 1 over 2 plus 5i. Then what's your z2? Your z2 is what? 4 minus 2i. So if you multiply 1 over 2 times 4, that's half times 4 is what? 2. Half times minus 2i will give you what? Minus i. Start with this one. 5i times 4 will give you positive 5i times positive 4 will give you positive 20i. Then positive 5i times negative 2i. First of all, times I and I times I will give you I squared. I squared is what? Minus 1. Then times this negative sign here will give you positive 1. So you will now have, what? 5 times 2 is what? 10. So you have positive 10. So what's the real part? The real part is this 2 that does not go with I and this 10 that does not go with I. What do? You add the real part, that's 2 plus 10. Then you now put plus I into. You add the imaginary part. What's the coefficient of I here? That's the imaginary part of this one. That's minus 1. Plus, what's the coefficient of I here? 20. So this will be equal to 2 plus 10 will give you what? 12. Then Minus 1 plus 20 will give you what? Positive 19. So we have positive 19i. So this will be the required result of this very question. So we have seen how to multiply complex numbers. We have seen how to divide complex numbers. Sorry, I have seen how to add complex numbers. What of division of complex numbers? We are going to do that in our next video. See you in the next video.